Time now, though, is 19 minutes past 9 on the Radio Wammo Breakfast.
The Radio Wammo Breakfast.
Game junkie, Gerard Campbell.
Hi, Mama. I'm back.
Sorry? Oh, I haven't got it. I lost it.
My boys are home.
Thanks, Carol.
I'll never see you again. Francesca and me, we wait.
Vito, no, this family of ours is a secret. You are entering the Society of the Chosen.
Promise that you won't get in any more trouble with that, Joe.
Mr. Falcone's gonna bring us into the family tonight. You and me.
Where'd you get all this money, Vito? You haven't done nothing you'll be sorry for, have you?
Don't worry, everything's fine. Our family means more to you from now on than your own family, or God, or your country. Gentlemen, I give you our new friend, Vito Scaletta.
It is Mafia 2. Just a couple of weeks ago, we gave a little preview of this brand new game out on multiple platforms. But now we've had a good go at it. Gerard Campbell, game junkie at stuff.co.nz, even in Christchurch, where it's been shaking and rolling since Saturday, has had some game time, amazingly enough. G'day there, Gerard.
G'day there, Wammo. How things?
Good. What a trooper. So you still got the controller in your hand while the aftershocks are going on?
I have to admit, most of the gaming happened on the Friday, which was good, but there was very little on the Saturday because we didn't get power back till probably sort of late in the afternoon, and then and a little bit on Sunday night because I'm not sleeping very well at the moment, as you can imagine, with all the aftershocks that are hitting at the moment.
Absolutely can imagine. But was it one of the first things you did when you, after checking that the family was right, of course, to go check that the consoles were okay?
Well, I saw that they were actually lucky we got no damage at all, which is really good. You know, we had nothing apart from a few vases and stuff that got easily knocked onto the cat's beanbag.
Yeah.
The cat wasn't there, luckily. But,
yeah.
You know, everything was all good. All the consoles were all good.
Oh, that's
but you
good.
know, we did have a bit of a joke that you know, with playing things like Left 4 Dead and Dead Rising, we'd be all ready if the zombie horde evolves from this. So we'll be all ready for that.
But drink enough of that dirty water, and that could be the case, Gerard. So that's good. I'm glad everyone there is safe. But getting back to Mafia 2, you've progressed quite far in this game now.
Yeah, I think it's got 14 chapters. I'm sort of just started chapter 12, and you know what's really caught me is, and you'll be able to confirm. You know, I think the story's really good. The story is really what driving this.
Yeah.
You know, when I first heard about it, I thought that it was going to be an open world sandbox game, and it's not. You know, it's very mission based, very story driven. So, you know, what I've found is that if you've completed a mission, you know, the next thing the guide will tell you, you know, go home, sort of thing. You know, there's nothing you can really do between finishing a mission and starting the next one. No, you can't. Sure, you can drive around the city.
Yeah.
You know, but you know, you can't go bowling and you can't go play darts and you can't, you know, play village. You know, there are stores where you can buy guns and you can buy food and that sort of thing. But it's certainly very limited in terms of what you can do outside the mission parameters. And I think for me, in a certain way, that's actually, I'm really enjoying that because it means that the story is staying, that the game's staying story driven. The story's driving it.
I've got to agree. I guess the comparison for me is always going to be with, say, a game like Grand Theft Auto, which is open world and sandbox, where I found there was too many distractions. You could just go off and waste literally hours just doing nothing and not progressing in the game. I do like the way Mafia 2 channels you towards the end goal.
Yeah, I mean, there's no, you know, and there's no multiplayer for this, so it's a purely single-player experience. And I think, you know, we were talking about this with mates on Twitter and that sort of thing, that, you know, it's almost a mob simulator, isn't it? You know, what it's doing is that it's putting you into the role of a mobster, you know, an American mobster, Vito Scaletta, you know, as he's come, you know, moved to America with his parents from Sicily, grew up in poverty, got in trouble, sent to the war, comes back, finds that his family's in debt, you know, and to get the money, he sort of starts doing odd jobs, and then with his old mate Joe, and then they sort of get tied up with the mafia, and then he joins the family. So, yeah, it's sort of that rags to riches, you know, immigrant to made guy sort of thing. And I think that the story is really what's driving this, and I'm actually interested to know where it goes. There are a few twists and turns coming through, and it's an interesting story.
You do feel like it is a mini movie, don't you? The voice acting for me is fantastic, really genuine. To me, it almost feels like a 1940s, 50s Sopranos.
Yeah, it does. And you're right. The voice acting is really good, but also the little interactive cutscene movies. They're actually very, really well done too. You sort of can imagine that you're watching an episode of The Sopranos, or you're watching Godfather or Goodfellas, or there's that same sort of banter going on, that same sort of camaraderie.
Do you now being, because I'm only on chapter 3, you're on chapter 12. Do you end up noticing in the world, in the city, and through the cars and objects in the game, does it progress in time from the 40s to the 50s? You notice technology changing? Yeah,
well, it does. I mean, there's certainly when the game first starts, it's the 1940s, sort of mid-1940s, and when Vito goes back to Empire Bay, it's winter and it's snowy, and you can certainly tell this is the 40s, but there's a really nice progression once the story hits the 50s. That's the time, the greases and the rock and roll music, and there's actually, you can see a physical progression. You see that the cards have changed, that the music has changed too. There's some really great there's some really great music on the car radios. Some of those really solid 1950s tunes that probably our parents grew up with. So sort of the rockabilly and all that kind of stuff. It's really good, isn't it? And it's tunes that I can't think of the names, but ones that you remember hearing on movies from that era. The really classics. From ages gone back. So I think they've done a nice go at sort of recreating that progression from the 1940s war era to the 1950s, when it was a wee bit more prosperous. Yeah. Now with games like this, of course, there is always those little incentives to go and pick up objects. Alan Wake was pick up coffee thermoses, which was kind of a boring sort of object. Gerard, be honest with us. How many Playboy magazines have you picked up inside the game? I think I've picked up 5. I think I've come across 5. Is that all? Yeah, it's all I've found. How many have you found? Well, I'm only up to chapter 3, but I've found 5. You found 5. I obviously haven't been looking in all the seedy places. Obviously, you haven't been going to the right places in the city. Right Gerard. Places at all. But it's interesting because as soon as one pops up, oh, there you go, and then quickly exit out of the B button. But there's also and I haven't come across. There's also some wanted posters around the city as well. Yeah, and artworks. By doing things you unlock artworks and things like compared to the first Mafia, this time that the police are a wee bit more lenient than they were in the first Mafia. In the first Mafia, if you so much as sneeze the wrong way, the cops will be on top of you with full force 5 and guns. But now they'll pick you up for speeding infractions. Funnily enough, you can go through a red light with a cop right in front of you, and they won't stop you. So obviously going through red lights is fine, but you'll see that the cars have got speed limiters on them. So if you want to put the speed limiter on it, which will restrict the car to 40 miles an hour or whatever it is, they won't stop you. But the police seem to be a lot more lenient than they were last time, which is good. And what about cars? Are you precious with your cars? I mean, do you not like to knock them up and travel too fast, or do you like to collect cars? Well, I found that some of the cars, like if you're going at speed, they're all a bit twitchy. So, and sort of some situations I tend to write the cars off. Or, write them off, but you'll smash headlights and taillights and that sort of thing. But there's an option that when you've picked up a car and you've parked it in your garage, before you take a car, and you've probably seen this, you can have an option, you can repair it in the garage. Yeah. I think it's press the A button, and it'll cost you $80 or $90 or something. But there are also paint shops, spray shops, and mechanics dotted around the city as well. So you can call into those and get your cars fixed. But I mean, there's some really nice cars. There's some really slow cars, but there's some really nice, fast, sporty cars. And once you hit the 50s, you'll get introduced to, I guess some of those sort of more hot roddy sort of cars that that the greasers and those sorts of things drove. And I guess in terms of, there's not really a lot of side missions that you can do, but there's a couple of side missions that you can sell cars to one guy that you can get cash from, and then there's a guy that runs I guess it's a junkyard, and you can take cars to him and either collect cars for him, or you can take cars to his crusher and crush those, and you'll get I think it's $400 or something like that. So there's certainly other ways that you can make money, but it's definitely a more linear and a more story progressive game than I think GTA 4 was. And I think for me the story is a lot more engaging than Grand Theft Auto 4.
Excellent. Well, that is Mafia 2, out across multiple platforms: Xbox 360, PC, PS3.
That's it, yeah.
Yeah, all those ones. Thanks very much, Gerard. Game Junkie NZ, and on the Stuff blog as well. Stay safe, and I hope you get back to some decent game time soon.
Yeah, back to normality today.
Yeah. It is 9:30 here on Kiwi. Got a track now from the